Next up, we have Marisa Brown. She is from McGoffin County, Salyersville Elementary, and her title of the project is Ready to Read, and she teaches kindergarten.
My name is Marisa Brown, and like they said, I am from Salyersville Grade School in McGoffin County. The title of my project is Ready to Read. My background, I started out in 5th and 6th grade. I was teaching mathematics 5th and 6th grade, and then my principal brought me in and said, what do you think about kindergarten? And I thought I might cry. But so now I teach kindergarten. Last year was my first year as a kindergarten teacher. And so it was kind of a learning process for me as well as for my students. But as I was going through the year, I realized it's so individualized. Everything is based on each individual child and trying to get them to meet their best, whatever their best is. And the way to make that happen is to assess them as often as possible. And it's really hard to assess 24 children all the time. So I was trying to come up with a way that I could assess them more often and be able to meet their needs the best way I know how. And so what I came up with is, for my project, I wanted to get a couple of iPads. So I am blessed to have a full-time aide in my classroom to help me out. And so she and I both received an iPad with a cover for protection. And then the other part of my funds went to purchasing a program online called ESGI, and it's an assessment program. And that program, you can create your own assessments, or you can choose from stock assessments that's already in the program. And if you create an assessment, you can choose to share that assessment with others, and there's thousands already on there. But in the past, when I was doing it last year, I didn't have this program, and we had to assess. It was a paper assessment, and I would have to pull out these big binders, and then I had this giant binder that I would keep on each individual child, and I would try to assess them, but I seemed to only be able to get an assessment in like every 9 weeks or so on each child. And I'm hoping that through this project and with these funds and these resources that I'm able to assess them more often. And then I can even take that beyond the basics of where we started with that kindergarten checklist. So our kindergarten checklist covers like their alphabet identification, their numbers, how far can they count, do they know their basic 2D shapes, do they know their colors, and things like that. And once they've mastered that, we move from that into reading. And so it's really helpful if we can get that covered really quickly. So that means they are able to begin reading even more quickly. So I want them to master those as quickly as possible. And if I can't get to the assessment, I don't know that they've mastered that. So I'm hoping to be able to assess them more often and even go beyond that and take that beyond and use that online program to assess their sight words. Do they know their sight words? And the program already has some of those built in. The ESGI, it has so much data and reports that are available to you. So in the past, I would have to pull out each child's checklist, which was paper form, and see, did they master this or did they not? And then if I wanted to compare that to other students, I had to take each student's checklist, look at it side by side. Well, with ESGI, I can take that program and it will show me all the students, one individually, or it will show me the entire class, and it will show me item analysis. So like if I'm assessing alphabet identification, I can look and see, it'll bring up a chart and it'll say, okay, letter N is the most missed among all your students. So I know I need to focus on letter N. So we'll focus a few days on letter N. If the next most missed is letter Q, we will focus on letter Q for a little while. And it'll do the item analysis for everything. It'll do it for your alphabet. It'll do it for any assessment you give. And I learned of ESGI through social media. I follow certain people on Twitter and Instagram and things like that, and I noticed a lot of these people, these familiar names, like Dr. Jean and people like that, they use this assessment program. And so that's kind of how I came to find out about ESGI, and it kind of tweaked my interest, and I started researching. And they have a lot of those people that we've all heard of in primary mostly. Maybe if you're not primary, you may not know who these people are, but as a primary teacher, you may know these people. And so it got me interested. If these people who we all know are really loving ESGI, then maybe it's something that I'm interested in. And it was even something I was really interested in before I knew about the grant, that I was contemplating taking money out of my own pocket to purchase it. It's not terribly expensive. It was $199 for a 1-year access. And it will even archive all of your past students, all of their data. So you can compare what you've been doing this year to what maybe you did last year. So I tried a little, like it gave me, I think you can find codes and you can do, I think it's a 60-day trial. So if you're interested in it, I can probably hook you up with one of those codes or something like that. So, because you just have to type in the code and you can get 60 days. And you can put, I think, up to 200 students in there. So some of you that have a lot more students than 24, I mean, I couldn't imagine assessing 200 students, but the 24 is pretty, hard for me to get to. So they do offer that code, so you can try it out if you really like it. But it was something I was really enjoying through the free trial, that I was willing to maybe kind of dig into my own pockets and pull out the $199 and purchase it myself. And even I know that these funds won't last forever, so I'm hoping that this continues to be a success for me, and that maybe next year, even if I have to pay for it myself, it's something that I would really plan to continue, because I really enjoyed it. And the kids not only enjoy it more, they don't really care for that paper. Like if I'm on shapes, okay, here's our shapes page. All right, show me the shapes. What do you know on this page? Let's flip the page. They really like the iPad. So I can pull up the iPad and like, do you know what's this shape? And they'll say circle. So they know, yes, that's the circle. So they can hit the yes. You can let them do that themselves. You can also do it on a computer. I don't think there's an app, but it is iPad compatible. So you can use the iPads. But it also works just fine on your desktop or anything like that. So does anyone have any questions about it? Yes. It doesn't specify a grade level. I'm just aware of the primary aspect of it. I didn't find out about it until I got into the primary grades. But it's something one of their main selling points is that they can save you up to 400 hours a year just by, helping streamline your assessments. So, any questions? Okay, thank you very much.